It all began on a brisk, clear morning at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. The air buzzed with the familiar hum of travelers, announcements, and rolling suitcases. Dr. Monique Langston, a composed, confident black woman in her early 30s, stepped into the terminal with the intent of catching a routine flight. She had no idea an unexpected confrontation was about to erupt, one that would challenge not only her composure but her very identity. Monique, a native Atlantan, woke that morning to the gentle chime of her alarm, sunlight spilling into her sleek condo. She had planned the trip meticulously, selecting a travel outfit that struck the perfect balance between comfort and professionalism. This wasn't a vacation. It was a high-stakes business trip to Seattle to finalize a transformative deal with a tech firm producing next-generation airport screening equipment. As the newly appointed Deputy Director of the Federal Aviation Infrastructure Bureau, Monique was reshaping how America handled air travel security. Riding to the airport, she reviewed her itinerary and mentally rehearsed key talking points for her meetings. Her carry-on was light, her steps purposeful. She navigated the terminal with ease, a seasoned traveler used to bypassing delays and inefficiencies. But today, fate had other plans. Upon arriving at the Delta check-in counter, Monique smiled warmly at the attendant and handed over her passport and boarding details. The interaction was routine, pleasant. She was soon through TSA pre-check with efficiency, sipping coffee at a cafe near her gate while reviewing documents for the upcoming meeting. Boarding for her flight began at gate 26. Monique joined the line with the other priority passengers, scanning her phone for any updates. It was then she noticed the gate agent scrutinizing IDs and boarding passes more closely than usual. His name tag read D. Graves. As Monique approached, Graves gave her a long, appraising look before snatching her passport and boarding pass. His eyes flicked between her face and the photo, then narrowed. "Is this your passport?" he asked, suspicion in his tone. "Yes, it is," Monique replied calmly. Graves frowned. "It doesn't look like you. Your face, the structure. Something's off." Monique remained composed. "My hairstyle's different. I changed it recently, but that's definitely me." "I'm not so sure," Graves muttered. He tapped his radio. "I need a second opinion at gate 26. Passengers behind her began to murmur. Monique was asked to step aside. Despite her credentials, despite being in her home city, she found herself singled out. Minutes later, a security supervisor named Karen Delgado arrived. She reviewed Monique's documents and asked her to verify basic information, which Monique did flawlessly. Delgado nodded, clearly satisfied. But Graves persisted. "Let's run her credentials through the database," he insisted. "You can't be too careful." Monique was escorted to a kiosk. Again, everything checked out. Still unsatisfied, Graves requested airport police intervention. Officer Thomas Hune arrived, ran further checks, and confirmed Monique's credentials were entirely valid. Even then, Graves muttered, "I still think something's off." Monique replied, "There is nothing off. But if you have further concerns, you're welcome to file a report." She boarded the plane, emotions swirling at anger, sadness, disbelief. Despite her accomplishments, she'd been treated like a suspect. In her seat, she vowed to address this. This wasn't just about her. In Seattle, Monique closed the deal. The contract promised a major leap in unbiased airport security tech, but she couldn't let what happened in Atlanta slide. She wrote a detailed report to her boss, Director Andrea Shields. What Monique didn't know was that Graves had filed a false report claiming she used intimidation tactics and threatened him. Director Shields launched an investigation. When Monique returned to Atlanta, she was met by airport officials. They briefed her on Graves' accusations. Surveillance footage, eyewitness accounts, and police records all contradicted his claims. Graves was placed on leave. At the formal hearing, his lies unraveled. Karen Delgado and Officer Yoon testified in Monique's favor. Audio from Delgado's walkie confirmed Monique's calm demeanor. The panel found Graves guilty of misconduct and dishonesty. Monique addressed the room. "This isn't about revenge. It's about accountability." Graves was fired. Monique became a symbol of reform. She spearheaded initiatives to train agents on implicit bias and implement objective verification technologies. Her story made headlines. Some twisted it, others championed her. Months later, at the same airport, a gate agent she had trained recognized her. "Thank you for what you're doing," he said. As Monique boarded a new flight, an elderly woman beside her recognized her name. "You're that official, right? The one who stood up for herself? Bless you." Monique smiled, a quiet fire in her chest. "Thank you." The plane ascended. Monique looked out the window, the city shrinking below. She was more than a title, more than an incident. She was a force for change. And she was just getting started. In the weeks that followed, Monique's inbox overflowed with messages, letters from everyday travelers, security professionals, and advocacy groups. Many shared harrowing stories of racial profiling at airports. Some offered support. Others asked for help in making their voices heard. What had happened to Monique was not isolated. It was systemic. Monique dove into her work with renewed energy. She led a task force focused on transparency and fairness in passenger treatment. Under her leadership, the Bureau proposed a sweeping policy update, mandatory training in cultural sensitivity, new AI-backed identity verification tools, and a passenger review system for reporting misconduct. News of the reforms reached national outlets. Monique was invited to speak before the Senate Transportation Committee. Her testimony was powerful. No one should be treated like a suspect in their own country simply for how they look, she said. After her appearance, the Bureau saw a surge of support and funding. Monique's pilot program was greenlit for expansion to 20 additional airports across the country. She was praised by civil rights organizations, travel groups, and security unions alike. But not everyone welcomed the change. Online, a small but vocal backlash simmered. Conspiracy theories claimed Monique had fabricated the incident. Some former colleagues of Graves defended him anonymously. One blog accused Monique of exploiting her race and gender for power. Monique read every accusation with a calm detachment. She knew the truth. And so did those who mattered. One quiet evening, as she returned home from work, her assistant handed her a sealed envelope. It bore no return address. Inside was a note, written in neat cursive. "You made me rethink everything. I was wrong. I see it now. I'm sorry. D." Monique held the note for a long while. A part of her wanted to believe it was from Graves. But even if it wasn't, the gesture symbolized something real. Change was happening. Weeks turned into months. Monique continued to push boundaries, mentor young professionals, and ensure that the skies above America remained not just safe, but just. And every time she boarded a flight, every time she saw a traveler treated with respect, she knew the journey she had taken through fire and frustration had been worth it. Because some turbulence is meant to clear the skies.